my name is Jobby, and here's a little fun game to play during this video. Every time I say the word waifu, take a shot.
Obviously, only do that if you're of drinking age, you fucking criminals.
The character of Super Akiba Red comes from a Super Sentai parody series called Unofficial Sentai Akibaranger. And if you're familiar with Super Sentai, also known as Power Rangers to Yubaka Gaijin, you know that each of these series has some kind of theme. Whether that be dinosaurs, ninjas, pirates, the entire galaxy, the theme of this show, as a way to bust the balls of its core audience, is otaku. And that word has a slightly different meaning in Japan than it does in the West. But for simplicity's sake, otaku is the proper term for fucking weeaboo. And I shouldn't have to say it at this point, but I've never watched it. But I did watch a clip provided by the same guy who provided this figure, thank you so much. I'm not gonna show you the entire clip here due to copyright reasons. The apocalypse is terrible as it is, but I will say that Akiba Red's love for his anime crush gives him a power-up. He's wearing his waifu as armor. It's hilarious, ridiculous, and kind of amazing. Check the link in the description. I think I want to watch the show now. The painting and the sculpting on this figure is amazing. For a design that's supposed to be poking fun at otaku culture, this guy actually looks pretty cool. The red and the black is a great contrast. The bits of printed text adds a little bit of that biker edginess. And even though this stupid helmet is supposed to look like a generic J-pop boy band member, it's a legitimately good design. I suppose it helps that it's kind of sharp. And the painting on this guy is pretty much perfect. There's really no area where the paint looks like it's been rushed. And that's especially true for his waifu armor. First of all, I gotta say, what a stroke of genius. But it's such a ridiculous concept that you're either gonna love it or hate it. I love it. The way that the hair becomes a shoulder pad is so clever. And the fact that her face is always next to Akiba Red's face, I'd say it's symbolic. And as great as the armor is, I kinda wish it extended a bit more to the back of the figure. I mean, the armor doesn't even have a face on the back. It's kinda creepy when you think about it. What the hell am I talking about? It's obviously creepy. Wearing your waifu is the next logical step after sleeping with them. And of course, the next step would be whipping out that onoho. Did you guys look that up yet? Good. Surprisingly, this creepy weeaboo that we all relate to, don't lie, doesn't come with an onoho, but he does come with a bunch of other accessories. Mostly different kinds of hands. In addition to his fists, you get a pair of open hands, pointing hands, karate chop hands, 2 different types of what I could only call action hands, and a pair of grabby hands. But what does he have to grab besides himself? So for his grabby hands, you get a pair of weapons that I should talk about later. Let's talk about his figures. That's right. The figure comes with a pair of figures. Go figure. And I believe this is a figure representation of the waifu that he's wearing. And I guess this one is another character that he's directed to. And the sculpting and painting on these things is pretty great. But I wish they could stand on their own. But then again, you could always fit it into Akiba Red's open hands. And this is how we all look when playing with our toys. Absolutely pathetic. But this figure can actually transform. I wish my waifu could turn into a knife, but it's not an actual transformation, they're just 2 separate pieces. Again, this thing is a stroke of genius, but I do wish that it can actually transform. You might say it's impossible because the thing is so small, but I've seen some pretty small transforming figures. It can be done. This fits nicely into his grabby hand, and you kind of forget that the knife is still an anime girl. But if you wanted a bigger weapon, you take the second figure, and they both combine. And again, they're 2 separate parts. Plug it into his hand and get his second hand in there. This thing is great. This guy is living proof that more than one waifu doesn't destroy your laifu. I'm just kidding, it does. Please learn how to talk to real girls. As for his final accessory, you can remove this scarf thing and replace it with this one. Looks a little more dramatic. And any waifus you may have, they're all trash compared to the one true one. Shooty hop. Ball joint at the head, ball joint at the base of the neck, allows him to look up that far, look down that far. Ball joint at the shoulder, allows for some backward and forward movement. Rotation at the shoulder, waifu gets in the way. Arm moves out, bicep swivel, double bend at the elbow, up and down at the wrist. But if you rotate the peg, you can get some side to side. Ball joint at the wrist that acts more like a swivel. Ball joint at the chest and ball joint at the waist, allows for an arcing back and a crunch. Every ball joint can be angled. Rotation at the leg, can move back that far. Beautiful spread. Thigh swivel, double bend at the knee, up and down at the ankle, a pivot, and a toe bend. And you know what? I ain't no goddamn furry. Best girl here. Posability on this guy is fantastic. You can get so many poses with all the joints this figure has. But I do find that the joints in the torso are not completely so the figure feels a little more wiggly than I would like. And you could get even more posing options if you have some kind of figure stand. In this case, I'm using a Bandai Tamashii Nations Act 5 stand. He looks great on the ground and in the air. As for the size of the figure, he's not too small. Here's Figma Madak Academy, SH Mazar's Godzilla, Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and because I don't have another Akibaranger figure, here he is next to one of my favorite waifus, Eva Godzilla Shiryu. Overall, the figure's awesome. This is a silly idea made into something that actually looks pretty cool. Definitely get this figure if you're a fan of the show this guy comes from, or if you could relate to his love for 2D women. But I won't lie, I would have never looked at this figure if it wasn't for Mootroid X Productions, who sent this to my P.O. Box. That's P.O. Box 329 Norwalk, California 90651. And look forward to that end of the month P.O. Box video that I mentioned in my last review. It's gonna be a big video, and you can make it even bigger. If you wanted to, no pressure. So if you were playing along with that drinking game, Rest in peace. But I realize that there might be a lot of you that don't even know what the word waifu means. But who am I kidding? We're all fucking losers. Waifu.